All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that's, well, absolutely critical, but so often overlooked on your boat, the outboard fuel system. Think of it as this silent, hidden network that's literally the life force of your engine. And, really understanding it is the key to having a good, reliable day out on the water.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. We tend to think, oh, it's just a clogged filter, no big deal. But the truth is, it's the first domino to fall. It can set off a whole chain reaction that can take out your fuel pump, your injectors, and yeah, your entire day, leaving you stuck. The stakes are way higher than most of us think.
So you gotta ask, right? What is actually going on in that maze of hoses, pumps, and filters? How does it all work together? And maybe more importantly, how does it all go wrong? Let's pull back the curtain and take a look.
The biggest danger to your fuel system isn't some sudden catastrophic failure. No, it's more like a silent threat. This slow, creeping danger of contamination and the fuel starvation that comes with it.
And here is the absolute key to understanding all of this. It's a vicious cycle. It's not about just one part breaking down. A clogged filter forces your fuel pump to work way, way harder, straining it until it just gives out. And on the other hand, a pump that's starting to fail can literally tear itself apart from the inside, sending little bits of debris right into your shiny new filters and clogging them up. See? One takes the other down with it. They're completely connected.
So, to stop that nightmare scenario, your engine has a whole team of protectors, a set of guardians, if you will. Let's meet these components and figure out exactly what each one does.
I absolutely love this analogy because it is just perfect. If fuel is the lifeblood that powers your engine, then the fuel pump is its heart, pumping and circulating that energy nonstop. And the filters, well, they're the kidneys, constantly cleaning out all the gunk and impurities to keep the whole system running clean. And just like in our bodies, if one part is off, the whole system suffers. They have to work in perfect harmony.
Okay, so let's follow the fuel on its journey step by step. It all starts in the tank, of course. From there, it gets its first big cleaning at the primary filter, which is also designed to pull out any water. Then it hits the fuel pump, where it gets pressurized. After that, it's pushed through an even finer filter, the secondary or VST filter, before it makes its final stop at the fuel injectors. Every step is like a crucial security checkpoint.
Now let's zoom in on the heart of the system, the pump. Back in the day, older carbureted engines had these tough, reliable mechanical pumps that were driven by the engine's own movement. But modern EFI engines, that's electronic fuel injection, they need incredible precision. They use electric pumps that deliver a constant high pressure. We're talking 40 to 45 psi for a lot of Yamaha engines. That perfect, consistent spray is something a mechanical pump just can't deliver.
So what you end up with is this amazing multi-layered defense grid. Your primary filter? That's the workhorse. It's like the bouncer at the front door, catching all the big junk and any water trying to sneak in. Then you have the secondary filter as backup, grabbing the finer stuff that gets past. The VST filter is the specialist, an incredibly fine filter that protects those super sensitive injectors. And finally, you have the injector screens themselves. They're the absolute last stand, a microscopic final barrier.
Okay, so let's put ourselves in a real-life scenario. You're out there, engine starts acting funny. Is it a simple clogged filter, or is it something way more serious, like the pump failing? Knowing the difference is huge, so let's talk about how to spot the signs.
This chart, this is basically your go-to cheat sheet on the water. Now, the classic sign of a clogged filter is an engine that idles just fine, but the second you try to accelerate, it sputters and bogs down. It's literally starving for fuel. A failing pump, though, that's usually more erratic. You get surging, stalling at random times, weird fuel pressure. But here's the dead giveaway. If a pump is failing and shedding debris, you can put a brand new filter on, and it will clog up almost instantly. That's a huge red flag.
Theory is great, but let's talk about a real-world story for a minute. This situation with a Yamaha F-150 is the perfect example of what happens when basic maintenance gets ignored.
So the engine was just off. It was idling rough, sputtering when you hit the gas, and it just felt tired, sluggish. Turns out the owner had been skipping his filter changes. The final diagnosis, a horribly clogged VST, that's the vapor separator tank filter. Because that simple, easy-to-change primary filter was ignored, all these tiny particles snuck through the system, month after month, and eventually just choked that critical VST filter. The lesson here couldn't be clearer. Neglecting the cheap part led directly to a much more expensive, difficult problem deep inside the engine.
And sometimes diagnosing a problem is as easy as just looking. This little piece of wisdom from Boat US is golden. A quick glance at your primary filter bowl can tell you so much. If you see those little clear drops of water sitting at the bottom, you've caught a huge problem before it had a chance to wreck your day.
All right, enough about the doom and gloom. Let's flip the script and talk solutions. This is your playbook, your guide to proactive maintenance that's going to keep that fuel system running perfectly. This schedule right here, this is your roadmap to a happy engine. Every single month, you should do a quick visual check. It takes seconds. Then, every 100 hours, or once a year, whichever comes first, it's time for that primary and secondary filter swap. And for that super important VST filter we keep talking about, the magic number is 200 hours. Seriously, sticking to this schedule is just not negotiable if you want reliability. I'm going to say it again, 200 hours. For that Yamaha F150 from our story, that is the service interval for that vital VST filter. If you take away one number from all of this, let it be that one. Missing this single simple maintenance step is what kicks off that whole cascade of expensive problems.
And look, I know we're all busy, but you can find 2 minutes a month for this, right? That's all it takes. Just look at the filter ball for water or junk. Squeeze the primer bulb. Does it get firm? Check the fuel lines for cracks. This little routine is your best early warning system. It's that simple.
Okay, and when you do go to replace a filter, here are a couple of pro tips. First, don't cheap out. Always use a high-quality filter that matches the original specs for things like micron rating. Second, and this is a great one, pre-fill that new filter with clean fuel before you screw it on. It's a simple step, but it gets the air out of the system and makes that first startup so much easier on your fuel pump.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question. Next time you're getting ready to head out, just think about this for a second. You now know all about the defense grid protecting your engine, from that big primary filter all the way down to those tiny microscopic screens in the injectors. So the question is your engine's last line of defense clean?